This is a world where weakness can be fatal. Survival depends on more than powerful claws. It demands endurance, determination, and the strength of a family that can withstand one of Africa's harshest ecosystems. For a lion, life is far more than the image of a king resting beneath the shade. Every day brings a new struggle: hunger, thirst, rival males, and prey that can fight back with deadly force. Here, territory and dominance are never guaranteed. They have to be defended, often through violent confrontations that can leave even the strongest lion badly injured. This is the unforgiving reality of life in the wild. For a lion, every decision matters, because one mistake can mean losing its territory, its family, or its life. A male lion doesn't mark his kingdom with lines on a map. Its boundaries are defined by his roar, the scent marks he leaves behind, and the sheer force he uses to defend them. A territory can stretch across hundreds of square miles. From a high rock along the edge of his range, he surveys the landscape. Then, an unfamiliar male appears. The resident lion lets out a roar and charges, turning a tense encounter into a brief but violent clash. Moments later, the intruder retreats. For a lion pride, this territory is more than a piece of land. It contains the resources they depend on: water sources, hunting grounds, and sheltered areas where females and cubs can stay relatively safe. A dominant male may spend years defending this territory from rival males. Patrolling is part of that defense. Males regularly move through their range, leaving scent marks and roaring to announce their presence. A lion's roar can carry for several miles, warning rivals that this territory is already occupied. But sometimes, a warning isn't enough. At night, when a rival male crosses the boundary, the resident male may confront him head-on. The two lions crash into each other, clawing and biting as dust rises around them. These battles can cause severe injuries, and in some cases, they could be fatal. For the pride, defending territory is ultimately a fight for access to the resources that keep them alive. Lose that territory, and the pride can lose its access to water, prey, and shelter, putting the survival of its females and cubs at risk. As the sun disappears and darkness settles across the African plains, the lion's world changes. In the darkness, its eyes catch what little light remains. A distant animal comes into view, and the lion moves through the tall grass, keeping its body low and nearly silent. Then, in a sudden burst of power, it launches forward and brings its prey down. Behind a lion's eyes is a specialized reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. It reflects available light back through the retina, helping the lion see in low-light conditions far better than humans can. This gives lions an important advantage when hunting after dark, when many prey animals are less able to detect an approaching predator. But vision is only part of the equation. A lion also relies heavily on its hearing and sense of smell to locate animals it cannot see. Hidden in the tall grass, a warthog makes the slightest movement. The lion's ears immediately turn toward the sound, pinpointing its direction before the predator moves in. Even its whiskers contribute to its awareness of the environment. These sensitive hairs can help a lion detect nearby objects and movements, especially when visibility is poor. Together, these senses allow the lion to hunt in conditions where sight alone would not be enough. In the darkness, an animal may disappear from view, but for the lion, that doesn't necessarily mean it has disappeared. The true power of these remarkable abilities becomes clear when we look at the social world of lions. The pride. Young cubs tumble over one another, chasing and play fighting in the grass. Then a lioness catches the scent of danger. She immediately becomes alert, rushing toward a large hyena and driving it away from the cubs. A pride can range from just a few lions to more than 20, and in some cases even larger groups have been recorded. Most are related females and their young, while one or more adult males may remain with the group, helping defend the territory. This social structure gives lions a major advantage. Working together, they can bring down large prey and defend the pride against dangerous rivals. But the core of the pride is its lionesses. Related females often remain together for years, forming the stable social network that holds the group together. They also do much of the hunting. During the heat of the day, lionesses may rest together beneath the shade, grooming one another and their cubs. But after dark, they can become coordinated hunters, surrounding large prey such as buffalo and attacking from different directions before it has a chance to respond. The males may be the most visible defenders of the pride, but the lionesses play a central role in keeping the family functioning, raising cubs, hunting for food, and supporting one another when conditions become difficult. In the harshest seasons, that cooperation can make the difference between a pride that survives and one that doesn't. You may know the lion as Africa's iconic predator, but its story reaches far beyond the animals we see today. Across Asia, Africa, Europe, and North America, lions once occupied a remarkable range of habitats, and some of their extinct relatives were far larger than the lions alive today. The Asiatic lion is one of the few survivors of that wider past. Today, its entire wild population is confined to India's Gir landscape. It is generally smaller than many African lions, with a less developed mane and a distinctive fold of loose skin along the belly. Centuries ago, these lions ranged from the Middle East into the Indian subcontinent. Now, only a few hundred remain. Africa itself is home to lions shaped by very different environments. In the arid landscapes of Namibia, desert-adapted lions endure intense heat, scarce water, and vast stretches of sand. Their ability to travel across these harsh landscapes allows them to survive where conditions can be unforgiving. Elsewhere, regional populations show their own physical and genetic differences. Lions of southern Africa include the populations historically associated with the Transvaal region, while East Africa is home to lions living across the Maasai ecosystems. And then there are the striking white lions of the Greater Kruger region. Despite their unusual appearance, white lions are not a separate species or subspecies. Their pale coats result from a rare genetic variation affecting pigmentation. Beautiful as they may be, that lack of normal coloration can make blending into the surrounding landscape more difficult. But the most extraordinary chapter of the lion's story belongs to the past. During the Ice Age, cave lions ranged across large parts of Europe and Asia, where they survived in much colder environments than those inhabited by most lions today. In North America, an even more imposing predator once dominated the landscape: the American lion. It was among the largest cats known from the fossil record, considerably larger and more heavily built than modern African lions. With enormous Ice Age herbivores such as ancient horses and giant bison roaming its territory, the American lion lived in a world built for massive predators. Then that world began to change. As the Ice Age ended, climates shifted, ecosystems were transformed, and many of the large animals these predators depended on disappeared. The American lion and the cave lion eventually vanished as well. Another famous lion once lived much closer to the Mediterranean. In the mountains and forests of North Africa, the Barbary lion became known for its powerful build and exceptionally heavy, dark mane, which could extend well down the chest and belly. Its image became part of Roman history when lions were captured and brought into arenas for public spectacles alongside gladiators. But the greater threat came not from the arena, it came from centuries of human hunting and habitat pressure. The Barbary lion eventually disappeared from the wild. Far to the south, the Cape region of South Africa was once home to another lost population, the Cape lion. Known for its heavy mane and dark coloring around the ears, it survived until human expansion and intensive hunting pushed it toward extinction. By the middle of the 19th century, it was gone. What remains today are fossils, preserved specimens, historical accounts, and genetic traces. Fragments of evidence from a time when lions occupied far more of the world than they do now. The lion we know today is only the latest chapter in a much larger evolutionary story. One shaped not only by survival, but by the rise and disappearance of entire worlds. Choosing the right prey can be critical to a lion's survival. A lion cannot afford to waste energy on every animal it encounters. A large herd of buffalo moves across the plains. Hidden in the grass, the lionesses watch closely, paying attention to the movement and position of individual animals. A healthy, heavily built buffalo may be difficult and dangerous to bring down, while an animal that is isolated, distracted, or already struggling to keep up can present a better opportunity. The same principle shapes the hunt: find an opportunity that offers enough food without exposing the pride to unnecessary risk. Once a target is singled out, the hunt becomes a combination of stealth, timing, and explosive power. 3 lionesses move through the grass, gradually closing the distance. Then one breaks cover and drives the herd into motion. As the animals scatter, another lioness accelerates toward a vulnerable target and attempts to bring it down. Lions are built for short bursts of speed, not long-distance pursuit. They rely on getting close before committing to the chase, then use their powerful legs to accelerate, rapidly reaching speeds of around 50 miles per hour, but only for very short distances. But reaching the prey is only the beginning. A frightened zebra kicks violently, fighting to escape. The lioness uses her weight and powerful forelimbs to grab and destabilize it, while another lion may join the attack. Once the prey is restrained, the lions deliver powerful bites around the neck and throat. Depending on the size and species of the prey, these bites can cause severe injury, restrict breathing, or lead to fatal blood loss. It is a dangerous and physically demanding process. The objective is not simply to make a kill, but to bring down enough food for the pride while limiting the risk of serious injury to the hunters themselves. Lions may approach a hunt with caution, but even the most powerful predator can make a dangerous mistake. Hunger, inexperience, or a moment of poor judgment can bring a lion face to face with an animal capable of fighting back. On the African plains, prey does not simply surrender. A lion that takes on a large African buffalo can quickly discover how dangerous that decision is. A threatened buffalo can turn with astonishing force, using its heavy horns to strike, toss, or injure an attacking lion. Even a giraffe, despite its peaceful appearance, can deliver a powerful kick capable of causing severe injury. For a young or inexperienced lion, confronting an animal of this size can be a serious gamble. The prey may be far more dangerous than it first appears, and the consequences of getting too close can be fatal. In the unforgiving world of the wild, strength and sharp senses can keep an animal alive, but without reproduction, an entire lineage eventually disappears. For lions, the survival of the pride ultimately depends on the arrival of the next generation. That process begins with courtship, and it can be surprisingly intense. When a lion and lioness are ready to mate, they may remain together for several days, repeatedly mating while staying close to one another. The relationship can include both affection and aggression. A female may swat at the male, and he may respond with a growl before the pair settle again. This repeated mating is linked to the lioness's reproductive cycle and helps stimulate ovulation, which is induced by mating in lions. During this period, mating can occur many times over several days. After conception, the lioness carries her cubs for roughly 110 days. As birth approaches, she leaves the pride and seeks out a secluded place where she can give birth away from the activity of the group. She may choose dense vegetation, a rocky shelter, or another concealed location that offers protection from potential predators. Away from the pride, however, she is largely on her own, constantly alert to the sounds and movement around her. Then the cubs arrive. At birth, lion cubs are remarkably vulnerable. Their eyes are closed, their bodies are small and weak, and they depend completely on their mother for warmth, nourishment, and protection. The lioness keeps them hidden in a secluded den or sheltered area, leaving only when necessary to find food and water. During their first weeks, the cubs depend entirely on her milk and protection. She may also move the cubs between hiding places as they grow, reducing the chance that predators will discover where they are being kept. For these newborn lions, the first weeks are among the most dangerous stages of life. They cannot defend themselves, they cannot follow the pride, and they have no way to escape a determined predator. For now, their survival depends on one thing above all else: their mother. Once the cubs are a few weeks old and their eyes begin to open, play becomes their first form of training. Two cubs chase each other through the grass. One suddenly pounces onto the other, wrestling it to the ground. It looks like harmless play, but these movements help develop the coordination, strength, and timing they will eventually need as predators. As they grow, the cubs return to the pride, where several lionesses may care for them. Living alongside other cubs gives them constant opportunities to practice stalking, pouncing, wrestling, and reacting to sudden movement. Eventually, their lessons move beyond play. The cubs begin following the adults on hunts, watching from a distance as the lionesses approach and bring down prey. Sometimes they get too close. A young cub rushing toward a warthog can quickly discover that prey can fight back, as a sudden charge sends it tumbling through the grass. These encounters teach lessons that no adult lion can simply demonstrate. The cubs learn to approach quietly, use vegetation for cover, pay attention to the wind, and wait for the right moment before making a move. With every failed attempt, they gain experience. Over the next 2 years, they gradually develop the skills needed to hunt and survive independently. But reaching that stage does not mean their hardest challenge is over. For a young lion, adulthood brings an entirely different test, one that will determine whether it can earn a place of its own in the wild. Around the age of 2, young male lions begin to face a major turning point. As they mature, they are often pushed out of their natal pride, preventing close inbreeding and forcing them to establish themselves elsewhere. Once expelled, these young males may travel alone or form coalitions with brothers and other males. For two brothers, moving together, that partnership can become their greatest advantage. They hunt together, defend one another, and face dangers that would be far more difficult to handle alone. Their journey can last for years. They may move through unfamiliar territory, avoid established males, and gradually build the strength and experience they need to compete for a pride of their own. Eventually, the ultimate challenge arrives, taking control of an established pride. When a coalition of young males confronts the resident males, the encounter can become a violent battle. The older males may fight fiercely to defend their territory, but if they are defeated, the coalition takes control of the pride and its resources. For the incoming males, however, the most consequential part of the takeover may come afterward. If the new males kill unrelated nursing cubs, the females can return to fertility sooner rather than continuing to invest in offspring fathered by the previous males. This behavior, known as infanticide, is a documented part of lion social dynamics, although it does not occur in every takeover. For the females, losing cubs can be devastating. They may attempt to defend them, but against multiple incoming males, their ability to stop the takeover is limited. The result is one of the harshest realities of lion society. A new coalition does not simply inherit a pride, it can reshape its future, eliminating the previous male's offspring and creating the opportunity for a new generation. In the world of lions, power is temporary, and every new reign begins with a struggle to secure the next generation. In this unforgiving landscape, lions are not the only animals competing for food. Other predators and scavengers are constantly looking for an opportunity to take advantage of a fresh kill. A lion may spend enormous energy bringing down prey, only to find that the carcass has attracted a crowd. Vultures circle overhead, while hyenas, wild dogs, and other predators move in from the surrounding grassland, waiting for an opening. That means the hunt does not always end with the kill. A lion has to defend its meal. When possible, lions may drag smaller carcasses into thicker vegetation, making them harder for competitors to reach. While the pride feeds, other lions remain nearby, watching for anything that might try to move in. Among their most persistent competitors are spotted hyenas. Both species are capable predators, and their competition can become intense when food is scarce. At night, a group of hyenas may approach a lioness guarding a carcass. Rather than rushing directly into a confrontation, they can surround her, vocalize, and repeatedly move in and out, looking for a chance to force her away. The lioness responds with aggression, but numbers matter. A large hyena clan can put enormous pressure on a small group of lions, and when male lions are nearby, the balance can change instantly. A dominant male may charge toward the hyenas, using his size, strength, and powerful roar to drive them back. Faced with a much larger opponent, the hyenas may scatter, leaving the carcass behind. This competition is a constant part of life on the African plains. A successful kill can become the center of a struggle between predators, scavengers, and an entire network of species trying to survive. Yet the lion's role in this ecosystem extends far beyond the animals it kills. As major predators, lions influence the behavior and numbers of large herbivores. Their presence can cause prey animals to avoid certain areas or change how they move across the landscape. In that way, a lion's kill does not simply end with death. It becomes part of a much larger cycle, feeding other animals, returning nutrients to the ecosystem, and connecting predator, prey, and scavenger in a single chain of survival. The lion is not simply a killer. It is one of the forces that helps shape the ecosystem around it. The word lion usually brings to mind a powerful predator, relentless, dangerous, and built to kill. but their behavior can be far more complicated than that image suggests. After a hunt, for example, a lioness may encounter something she does not immediately treat as food. If the prey was pregnant and the unborn young is exposed during feeding, she may ignore it rather than consume it. Exactly why lions respond this way is not fully understood, and behavior like this is a reminder that predator behavior does not always fit simple rules. Lions can also show strong preferences about what they eat. They may avoid carcasses that smell spoiled or otherwise appear unsafe. That does not mean they are consciously detecting specific toxins, but their senses can help them assess whether food is worth the risk. A lion may be powerful enough to confront some of Africa's most dangerous animals, but when the environment itself turns against it, strength can only go so far. During severe drought, months can pass with little or no rain. Waterholes shrink, rivers disappear, and the herds that lions depend on may move elsewhere in search of food and water. For a pride already weakened by hunger and dehydration, even a difficult hunt can become a serious physical challenge. A lioness may attempt to bring down large prey, such as a giraffe, only to lose the opportunity because she no longer has the strength or stamina needed to complete the attack. When normal prey becomes scarce, lions may turn to smaller animals or carrion when opportunities arise. But there is another danger that cannot simply be fought with strength disease, parasites, and serious injuries. But today, lions face a challenge far beyond drought and competition from other predators: humans. As settlements, roads, farmland, and livestock expand into natural habitat, the distance between people and lions becomes smaller. A hungry lion may cross through fences at night and approach livestock in search of an easy meal. For a farmer trying to protect his animals, that lion can represent a serious threat, and the response can be deadly. In some areas, lions are killed through shooting, poisoning, trapping, or other forms of retaliation after livestock losses. At the same time, the decline of wild prey can make livestock an even more tempting target. This creates a difficult conflict on both sides. For the lion, there is no understanding of property boundaries, only the search for food and survival. For the people living alongside them, protecting their livestock can be a matter of livelihood. As human populations grow and natural habitats become increasingly fragmented, these encounters become more frequent. The lion is still one of Africa's most powerful predators, but power cannot protect an animal from a world that is steadily changing around it. Like every ruler, a lion eventually reaches a point where age begins to take away what strength once gave him. An old male, his mane faded and his teeth worn down, struggles to keep up with the demands of life. He may attempt to chase prey such as a warthog, only to lose the opportunity as his slower movements give the animal time to escape. This can be one of the hardest stages of a lion's life. Speed declines, injuries accumulate, and the senses may no longer be as sharp as they once were. Gradually, an aging male can lose his ability to defend territory or maintain control of a pride. And sooner or later, another challenge may arrive. Younger males can test the aging resident, especially when his physical condition begins to deteriorate. If he is unable to defend his territory, he may be forced out after a violent confrontation. For the old lion, losing the pride can mean losing access to reliable food and protection. He may spend his final years alone, weakened by age, hunger, or injuries. Eventually, somewhere beyond the territory he once defended, the old lion may disappear from the landscape. The roar that once announced his presence falls silent. And the territory moves on to another generation, a younger male, another coalition, another chapter in the endless cycle of power, survival, and loss. After years of observing wildlife, one thing becomes clear: the lion is far more than a powerful predator. It is a protector of its family and an important part of the ecosystem it inhabits. But its future depends on ours. As wild habitats continue to shrink, protecting lions means protecting the landscapes and ecosystems they depend on. Without that effort, future generations could know the lion's roar only from recordings and old footage. We are not the owners of the natural world, we are its guardians. If you enjoyed this documentary, help spread the message by liking and sharing the video, and subscribe to the channel for more stories from the wild and more of nature's remarkable secrets.